Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a perfect, magical moon message. Moon in Virgo, Sun in Libra. The moon is 12th house to the Sun in Libra. And before the character assassination that may occur and inadvertently start a new cycle on the new moon, I would just like to remind you, when people make the decision to hop on your dick, ladies, your dick too, just know that if it wasn't for your expression, they wouldn't have the onus to be saying anything they're saying. Hopefully that inspires you to take less seriously attacks on your character. But as we step into the next moon sign, Libra, we will be activating the second boss battle. So I want you to rest assured on the fact that in the context of many people who have not done their research on you, because it's one thing to speak about hearsay about you or to share opinions, it's another thing to have research done. And considering the opposition or the challenges you may face in this social zodiac sign season, where you're interacting with, in social interactions, people who may not share your beliefs, hopefully you take less serious the attacks on your character by people who have not done their research. It's easy to follow a narrative and to preach to a choir. All these so-called influencers and famous people, that's all they really do. They have core fan bases. They preach to their choir, and they play this quantity over quality game where as long as they can make it appear that a majority of people believe a certain thing, then that's what everyone believes, when, that's not true at all. And, only idiots believe that. So it's gonna be a transit like today that, with the moon in Virgo, gives you a reality check to remind you of what's real versus the hype. And a lot of people are still, to this day, insecure. So this is why you have to really examine integrity in actions versus how things may appear and look. Once again, a lot of preaching to the choir and a lot of hasty generalizations. So with this moon that's going to be opposite Neptune, before we step into this new moon cycle, you're coming around to a complete release of old psychological habits and behaviors that you're not stepping into this next cycle with. As such, this new moon we're initializing is the first new moon in the last 6 zodiac signs. There are only really 6 zodiac signs because the oppositions between signs are different aspects of each other. So for those who say astrology isn't real because the northern hemisphere is different than the southern hemisphere, first tell them to suck your dick and then explain that to them. Other than that, this is really, really important because the psychological habits you're releasing with this 12th house Virgo aspect is letting go of old behaviors that no longer apply now that you've mastered certain habits and techniques before you start a new relationship cycle, bridging those newly defined mastered habits into those relationships. I'm just here to remind you that we're in an apocalypse cycle. This is the end game. And so the truth encompassing that sense of this new cycle, especially when taking into account that we're in the last 6 zodiac signs, which is going to be a completion of the first 6. This is going to take part in fundamentally changing how you do any and everything with anyone else. And most importantly, how you're ready to fully integrate supernatural abilities in your relationships with other people. The moon opposite Neptune is giving you a real practical and critical receptivity to metaphysical phenomena and influences that you vibe and sense, or that you sense the vibe of, relative to this awareness with other people in relationships. And these don't have to be spooky like ghosts. This could be just inferences that you gain that give you much, much, much greater understanding contextually with this real third dimension, whatever it's called, that puts everything in perspective. That's a fancy way for me saying that you're going to see the cursed spirits, pure spirits, psychological maladies, and the funky juju around people. And the body language cues around other people will also match and confirm what you may be sensing energetically or spiritually. Another reason why this is so important has a lot to do with, once we step into that new moon, this is going to effectively flip a switch and pull a lever and legitimately now take action on this game that's been changed. With this balsamic phase, be very mindful and receptive to facts and details that will be coming out, which will not be publicized or spread by mainstream media outlets for obvious reasons. So this will really be a lot to turn the tide around once again, mainstream popular narratives. And I want to once again remind you, we are in that counterattack, clapback era and season during season 3 of 2021. So a lot that you might have been challenging while we were in the opposite side, you may be coming into victory and completion. You definitely want this transit to highlight and reveal what behaviors get in the way of you bridging more meaningful contact and connection with other people. But screw all that. Screw any of that. I just had to dumb this down because this is just the basics of what we're going through. The reason why this transit is lit is because you spent maybe the better half of your entire life upgrading so that you can get to a period where you can harness your abilities at this level. The reason why we had to wait this long is because at some point we have to reach a collective level where everybody, it's not enough that you on your own are super adept or whatever. Everyone had to reach a certain level. And for the first time ever, everyone has barely just reached this level, which is why we're dealing with this threat, with these current conflicts at a collective level all over the world. And we're finally here. And so you're getting ready to take a whole lifetime's worth of development and psychologically transform how you interface that development with other people, clap back at other people. The moon in Virgo is going to reveal how fake other people are. Ugh. Shout out to Libra, because Libra gets a bad rap for being fake. It's just Libra sponsors social environments. And so Libra is going to take the blame for fakeness. Libra, you're not a fake motherfucker. It's just a lot of people are fake in your sign. And that's a common misconception. Let's give Libra some respect. I'm biased. Libra is like my favorite zodiac sign next to Sag. But, you know, because Libra sponsors social situations, and social situations allow people to, you know, act in a certain way which they want, it opens up the, you know, possibility for so much fakeness, let's just say. Outside of that, because we're dealing with so much fakeness and people who preach to the choir and don't necessarily do their research, You're going to inadvertently reveal ways in which you may have undermined and held yourself back by taking serious social expectations and norms that have nothing to do with you. The whole purpose of this great awakening is awakening to the fact that there's not a single authoritarian structure that has been established in the lifetime of our ancestors that applies to you. What do I mean by that? There's not a single police officer that has the authority to arrest you. There's not a single judge that has the authority to rule sentences on you. These are relics of an old age. If you think of 1776, when we had the last Pluto return, so many millions of people are listening to government officials that they have no business doing, because socially, all of you have just chosen and decided, oh, well, this is just what we do, even though it's not unanimous. So now there's millions of people in prison who aren't supposed to be jailed, despite the ethics and law codes. I'm not saying that bad people shouldn't be locked up. I'm not saying that good people shouldn't do the right thing. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying factually, there's not a single government in this world that has the authority to apply its laws and codes on you. This is something that we as a society have just agreed to continue establishing. This is why you're starting to see governments collapse, like in Afghanistan. This is why you're starting to see the economy collapse, because none of this shit was ever real. You just pretended to go along with it. Hence the illusions of, and I don't want to set the government as some like evil organization. I'm not saying that there's some conspiracy. I'm saying that the societal methods that we chose to rule over ourselves are outdated. And you may not know that a lot of authority figures don't have the authority, Pluto and Capricorn, and even be doling out the laws they do. How you do? That being said, this is what people globally are awakening to. Hence the pushback for mandates, the pushback for certain laws and rules that are being expressed and established. Welcome to the Great Awakening. It's going to take until Pluto finishes out of Capricorn for people to wake out of this dream, mainly because people are resistant to change. People don't want to change what already works. So no one wants to hear this fake revolutionary garbage about, oh, it's time for a new government system. We can let go of the old. I'm not here to convince you that. I'm just here to let you know why. This shit isn't gonna work, and this shit is dead. You're literally in a dead system that people lied to you to act like it's still going on, so that you know when you see something is dead, but the rest of the people don't know it's dead. So it's like, oh damn it. Well, let's keep convincing them that it's alive, and most people see through it, but they get censored and or killed. Rest in peace, Isaac Cappy. Other than that, you know what I'm saying? You know, it's very amazing how people can so desperately want to take things back to normal and go back to patronizing entertainment that traps your mind. All this fucking stupid bullshit that really does not have anything to do with who you are, but has put you on a hamster wheel in this system. For those of you who see through this, you're not alone. We see you. We need you. You're a part of the new heaven and a new earth. We're transitioning between two different ages, okay? Don't believe the hype. Let the moon in Virgo reveal more of the facts that will enable you to transcend how you function in relationships with other people, bridging in these newly developed supernatural abilities. But I'm going to say this one more time. There's not a single territory in this world that has the authority to govern over you like it does. Most of those constitutions were written in antiquity, a long time ago, and a lot of you souls are starseeds and representing higher celestial orders, that it's disrespectful to even, I understand if you blend in because you have to do what you got to do, but think about this moving forward, because once Saturn continues to finish its karmic cycle and Pluto begins to finish out of Capricorn, these things are going to become more serious. You have to be open to the fact, not possibility, that the governing structures and authorities will fall, and we will have a period of anarchy where certain families and groups and guild wars, as I call it, go into a succession war. Now that there's not governing authorities to enforce the executive branch, where police officers can enforce the law that the judicial branch judges, what's going to happen in this temporary state of anarchy? Think about that before we enter the new moon. Stay blessed.